Well, I guess it's a good evening now. I'm Shannon Winegar. I'm the Northwood Zone Recreation Planner. And today I'm going to, oh, is this on speed?
Nope, you press that.
Oh.
We can go back.
I'm going to be talking about recreation, and I'm going to tell you my resource story that I found out in the Big Mosquito area. Just in one of the last hunts, I was able to go out and try to take a picture of a hunting camp. At first, they were not too willing to talk to me, and as soon as they found out I wasn't a threat to them, then they warmed up, and I asked if I could take their picture, and they let me. So this is a typical hunter camp that you will see out in the woods. Oh!
Can we go back?
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's all on the automatic for some reason. Go back. Okay, today I'm going to give you a background. I'm going to talk about the niche, our emphasis areas, existing condition, and at the end I have a discussion, some things to think about in recreation. We have a vision for the Malheur, and our vision is to bring the recreating public into our management, and what we would like for the vision for recreation is that it be important to our communities and to the recreating visitor, to satisfy the visitors' information needs. That's a big one today, and we want to support community stability. This is a picture. I wanted to just show that it was what we call rooted natural, and I'll go into that a little bit later, but it just kind of shows kind of underdeveloped areas. The niche. It's kind of a framework for recreation. We created the niche in 2006 for this forest, and it helps us to lead us into our framework of how we want to create facilities or manage facilities. And it also goes back to, you know, we can't do everything for everybody with the funding that we have today. So we can't do everything for all people. On the back of that, greater good. So our niche on the Malheur National Forest is a traditional way of life, a dispersed recreation destination where local communities share traditions and heritage with new generations and with visitors. Recreation visitors enjoy the freedom to hunt, drive, camp, and hike in a wild place, and enjoy the beauty and diversity of forest ecosystems away from major population centers. And what I would like to say about the Malheur is that we kind of look at it as rustic. We're not an urban forest, so when we think about something that we're going to do on the landscape, like build a trail or develop a trailhead, we don't build it in an urban style. We don't have concretes, and we fit it for, it's called a recreation opportunity spectrum. So we develop to that spectrum. And as you'll see as we go through the slides, Big Mosquito is more rooted natural. So we're on the natural scale for our development. We also looked at areas of emphasis. That also helps to frame the framework for us when we're developing our sites. And how we did that was we looked at demands and trends. One of our special emphasis areas in the planning area is the Vinegar Hill Indian Rock Scenic area. MA7 is a special management that we do. Our management areas kind of tells us what we can do in that management area. And the reason why is we're trying to connect people to the land through quality rec experiences. And the Vinegar Indian Rock Scenic area, as you know, is kind of a natural area. It's very special. Another one is our information system. As things are getting more sophisticated in our technology, the public is also demanding that from us. No more do we have just a paper map that you come to our office and we hand it to you. Now we have the websites, we have publications, and we still try to do interpretive signing along the trails to help give a history. Another emphasis area is to design well-developed trail systems. Here on the Malheur, we have snowmobile trails, we have horse trails, mountain bike trails, and we're trying to, connect people to the land, time to recreate. Forest road systems, driving for pleasure. We need to be able to respond to the demand of what the public is wanting to do, and OHB is a high use right now. And we try to provide opportunities in the Big Mosquito area. We have dispersed rec and some trail opportunities. And those two things are low density, we have low use, and we have limited infrastructure. What I wanted to show on this here slide, and it's very interesting, this is our National Visitor Use Monitoring. And the last one we did was in 2009, and there's one currently going on right now. They're done every 5 years. So in 2009, the highest opportunity that people did on this forest was driving for pleasure. And then the second highest is hunting. As we all know, this area is really popular for hunting. And the third is hiking and walking. And then we go to primitive camping. So those are the 4 highest activities that people are doing on the Malheur. This here is a map of the planning area, and the black dots represent dispersed campsites, and that is pulled from our corporate data infra, the GIS system. And we have just a little section of trail. It's the Indian Rock Trail, 2.8 miles. So you can see how they lie along streams mainly. Oh, go back. And I wanted to say the roaded natural that I talked about is 22,000 acres, and roaded modified, meaning that we have more development. So you'll see more people, you might see more roads. But in the Big Mosquito area, 22,000 acres is roaded natural, meaning less development. Okay, existing overview in the planning area. There are no developed OHB trails. There are no developed snowmobile trails. There are no developed campgrounds. There are 45 dispersed campsites, and as I said, how we count a dispersed campsite is that it's used more than once, or it's evident that somebody's using it, because a lot of times people go out and camp, and it's so incidental that they don't put in a footprint on the land. So these are places that you actually can tell that there's a dispersed campsite. And as I said earlier, 2.8 miles of foot horse bicycle trail. And the main access into the planning area is County Road 20. Wanted to mention on the Indian Rock Trail that motorized vehicles are prohibited except for snowmobiles in the wintertime from December 1 to May 1. And our use on that trail is low. Existing dispersed camps, you'll find them along riparian areas. along adjacent to roads. The 45 camps are dispersed throughout the whole planning area. They're not just all in one area. And they're used throughout the year, but the heaviest use, of course, as you saw, the high activity on the forest is hunting. What you might see at a dispersed campsite, you're going to see structures that are primitive. So you might see a meat pole, a rock fire ring, log benches, some bridges that have been built, not to specs, but working. They're usually in flat areas and along water. Water is very important, near springs or creeks. And then as the campsites are used year after year, you start seeing the compaction, barren soils, vegetation is either gone or a change in the vegetation could be occurring. Okay. This is a typical dispersed campsite. You see the meat pole, you see a bridge that somebody's created across Deadwood. You see the soils are barren, they're compacted. I don't see a fire ring, but usually see a fire ring. And that's what we count as a dispersed campsite. In the previous screen, you saw how it was barren. This is still a dispersed campsite, but it's not used as much, and the ground's not as disturbed. And you see the meat pole, and I can't see the fire ring, but that also counts as a dispersed campsite. Dispersed camping is also associated with OHV use. That's become very popular. As we mentioned, the vegetation starts getting degraded and it starts changing. And of course, vehicles ride in and around dispersed campsites. And the other uses that occur out in our planning area, we have huckleberry and mushroom picking, hunting, as we mentioned, driving in the woods, winter activities, viewing wildlife, geology, fish, and wildflowers. I wanted to point back on that other screen, County Road 20, that one along the Middle Fork of the John Day.
So let's go ahead.
Okay. County Road 20 is providing access into the planning area. It is paved. And the rest of the roads in the planning area are either gravel or native surface, one lane with no turnouts. Okay, some key questions to ponder about the planning area is, where do we go from here? And what should we be providing that we're not providing? How engaged is our community regarding recreation and tourism? How aligned is our recreation program with the communities and other providers? And where do we have the leverage to move towards sustainability, or is there another way?